Hello fellow teachers, in the first video we discussed the important concepts about action research supported by the teachers in their perceptions about it. We also define action research as putting ideas in practice as a means of improving curriculum, teaching, and learning. It's also a self-reflective process where we continually reflect on our practices to understand and to improve quality of instruction. It is about how we can change our instruction to impact our students. In the second video, we'll be talking about the different problems that teachers may encounter when they do an action research. At the same time, we'll talk about the first part of the action research proposal, the context, and the rationale. Doing an action research requires commitment to improve instruction and the performance of students. However, some teachers are unwilling to do an action research due to some reasons. Let's watch this.
I think one of the reasons why some teachers are reluctant in doing action research is that there is this perception that doing this research consumes a lot of time, and your other tasks as teacher, also as parent, might suffer.
First of all is lack of time. We all know that we are not just teachers inside the classroom, plus the fact that we have special assignment, coordinatorship, and so on and so forth. Because of this, cramming exists on our part to the point that managing our time becomes complex. That's it. Second is attitude, dedication, and initiative towards work. Yeah, it is given that we cannot conceptualize an action research.
Teachers have this difficulties in literature search, presentation, publications issues, especially during the collection of data.
Aside from lack of time and focus, it has a negative impression, the word research, because it is associated with complexity. Takot gumawa ng research ang mga teachers because feeling nila it's napakahirap gawin.
Is lack of focus on the problem, that they need to know what it's all about, and they have fear of failure or taking risks because of the lack of knowledge in making research. How to begin a research, what are the needed materials in making that research, what to write at the middle, and what to write at the end of the research.
Some teachers cannot do action research because of sufficient time. They were focused on their respective function, which is instruction, and they are also busy on other special assignments like coordinatorship and other extracurricular activities in the school.
Let us now listen to the two teachers from Pasig City and Sorsogon as they share with us the context and the reading problems that they have encountered in their own classroom.
Filipino is supposed to be our lingua franca, but most of my students find it difficult to learn. Especially in teaching panitikan, they have a very poor reading comprehension. Actually, they are just merely decoding the text. One problem that I see is that because of technology and their habitual exposure to the internet made them become a lazy reader. They skip reading and pick up on words they find difficult. So as a result, they have a very poor Filipino vocabulary that might help them in understanding the text they are reading. I believe that Filipino is more than simply writing and speaking.
In teaching science in the upper primary level is that even though they are already in grade 5, they have a very poor reading comprehension skills. And sad to say, the growth of the students in science and in any other subject is dependent to the reading progress of the students. If the students don't know how to comprehend, doesn't know how to understand the text or the books that they are reading, there is no learning. So how can you understand science concept if you don't understand what you are reading? That's why, as a teacher, we need to address this learning gap.
These two teachers identified the problem in their own classroom. That's the first stage of action research. But for today, we'll describe the context and the rationale of the action research proposal. In describing the context and rationale of the action research proposal, we have to describe the focus of the study. Why is this area important? For example, they mentioned about reading. So the focus is on literacy. Focus is on the reading literacy of the students. So in the context and the rationale, mention the data, available data in your classroom. At the same time, cite a theory, a DepEd policy or law that would strengthen your claim. And have a brief explanation of your purpose of doing this study. And that's the rationale of your action research proposal. Let me now give you an example of a context and a rationale. In the first paragraph, for example, our focus is on the reading comprehension. So the general term for reading comprehension is literacy. So let's start our paragraph by saying, literacy is the ability to read and write is one of the main concerns of basic education. The main concern of reading is to comprehend the message conveyed in the selection. This requires us to use our thinking skills, comprehension strategies, and recall of the past experiences to make sense of what is put down in writing. Now we are narrowing into a less general term. Okay, let me now have the second paragraph. In line with the K-12 program and the goal of making every child a reader, the Department of Education is strengthening its reading program through the implementation of the Early Language Literacy and Numeracy program, as stated in the DepEd Order Number 18 Series of 2017. With this, it is the goal of the DepEd to improve the literacy and literacy of students from kindergarten to grade 3 following the K-12 curriculum. To address this problem, we have also in the division our own reading programs that would improve the reading skill of our students. In the first paragraph, we mentioned about the general term, general concept, which is the literacy, reading literacy. The second paragraph, we mentioned a DepEd policy or a DepEd program that would help improve the reading skill of our students. Now in the third paragraph, since our topic is about reading comprehension and reading engagement, improvement of reading comprehension at the same time improving the engagement of the students when they read. Now in the third paragraph, we may mention specific literature, and then let me read with you the specific literature that I got from the internet. Cambria and Guthrie, 2010, argued that there are two sides of reading. The first side of reading is about phonemic awareness, phonics, word recognition, vocabulary, and the reading comprehension. On the other hand, the second side of reading is about the will, the engagement, encouraging the students to be engaged in reading, which is also a main concern in reading, not just only decoding, comprehension, but at the same time, engagement in reading. In the third paragraph, we mentioned the two sides of reading comprehension and the engagement toward reading. Now in the fourth paragraph, we now mention here the experience, the actual experience of the teacher that prompted the teacher to make an action research. Let me read the paragraph number 4. The researcher in public elementary school in the Schools Division Office, Makati City, experienced this phenomenon firsthand. Some of the grade 6 pupils have lack of engagement toward reading. It is the neglected half of the side of reading, which was mentioned by Cambria and Guthrie. Unfortunately, they have the decoding skill, but they also lack this comprehension skill. This is one of the disturbing problems in an English class where students are not engaged in reading activities. And also based on the observations, some of the pupils hardly carried out the reading tasks or activities required of them to perform. And this absence of engagement can lead to this poor comprehension, poor performance in reading as seen in the reading activities and as well as in the end of lesson assessment. The results of the end of lesson assessment indicates that 25% or let's say 30 of the 40 pupils did not show mastery in the competency. Let us mention now here the competency that needs to be addressed, the least mastered skill, noting significant details of informational text. Lastly, in the fourth paragraph, we mention the actual data, the experience of the teacher that prompted him or her to do an action research. Now, in the fifth paragraph, we may mention now the strategy or the intervention that could help address the problem. Let's have the paragraph number 5. One strategy that helps a reading comprehension and engagement problem in the classroom is the twin text. Twin text, according to Strzersky and Binz 2016, helps build the background knowledge, supports reading comprehension, and enhances the classroom motivation or engagement toward readings. After mentioning the strategy or the intervention in the fifth paragraph, finally in the last paragraph, we now mention the purpose of the action research and the desired outcome. Let me read the last paragraph. For this reason, the teacher used twin text teaching to enhance the reading comprehension and the reading engagement of the students. And this action research aims to address this lack of reading comprehension engagement problems of pupils using twin text teaching. To summarize, in this video, we talk about the different problems that teachers may encounter when they do an action research. At the same time, the different components of the first part of the action research proposal, the context and the rationale. For the next video, we'll talk about the other two parts of the action research proposal,